This is the month we have been waiting for. We have 2 inner planets stationing direct and a really supportive connection between some outer planets that's going to help us make some long-lasting needed change. And on top of that, Mars finally moves out of Cancer. So all of these big shifts can really help us come out of the funk that I'm sure a lot of us have been feeling since the beginning of the year. Welcome back to the Hello Food Collective podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I love connecting astrology and small business, and just astrology in general, because it's a very helpful tool. On this episode, we are going to go over the highlights of the month of April. This will not include every single transit that's happening in April. If you want that, then head over to my blog, which is linked down below. And at the very bottom, you will find a space called Spicy, Supportive, and Dynamic Days. And this will list out every single transit that's happening in March with a quick little 1-sentence description of what the energy could be like for that day. If you want more information than 1 sentence, then make sure you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, where I post all the transits happening every week on Sunday. And I have a little graphic for each transit that gives you just a few more sentences for each transit. It's not too much, but it's not too short. Personally, I think it's the perfect amount of information, especially if you're just getting into astrology. And then, of course, on those graphics, I have a little section at the bottom that says for business owners or creatives. So it helps you tap into it for the things that you're creating. Amazing. So make sure you sign up for my newsletter so that you can get this video, the podcast version, and that blog link straight to your inbox every single month. And signing up for the email newsletter is just how we can stay in touch. And if I have any cool new offerings that I'm inspired to create, you'll be the first to know, okay? I only send 1 email out a month, sometimes twice, if I'm feeling it. It's really not a big commitment, and you always get something really juicy out of it. I'm not really selling you that much stuff, okay? Now, before we move on, if you are watching on YouTube, I just have to give a moment for my shirt. It's amazing. For everyone listening, it's a shirt with 5 cats on it. But wait, the back has its little buttholes. I'm sorry, how cute is this? I'm obsessed. If you don't know, I am a cat person. I actually grew up with dogs, and my husband grew up with cats, so we ended up getting our first pair of kittens together a few years ago, and now I am a full-blown cat lady. I think the people who transition from dogs to cats are even stronger cat people. They are full-on obsessed. They have a lot of time to make up for, and that is me. If you have a cat, then make sure you give it a hug for me. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the astrology for the month of April. Starting the month off strong, on April 4th, we have a minor grand trine with Saturn, Uranus, and Mars. That is a nerdy mouthful. So let me break it down for you, okay? What this means is that we have a little triangle in the sky. At the focal point is Uranus, and Uranus is forming a sextile to both Saturn and Mars. And then Mars and Saturn are forming a trine. So we have this little love triangle, and it's supportive energy. Now, a lot of things about this. I'm going to talk about this for a minute here. Uranus and Saturn are doing this little dance throughout the year. They make the exact connection on this day, and Saturn makes the exact connection as well on the same day. So it's rare that we have exact grand trines or grand crosses. Grand means there's more than one planet involved. So it's rare that all of the planets are aligned on the exact day. So this is a big deal. Already it's a big deal because Uranus and Saturn are both 2 outer planets, and they're making a connection. That's always a big deal. So the fact that Mars is coming in the mix on the same day with exactitude, this is very exciting to me. So Uranus sextile Saturn. This is an energy that is going to bring stable changes. Uranus loves change. Uranus is about freedom, stepping into liberation. It's about unexpected changes that can then offer us innovative ways of looking at things and then freeing us from limiting beliefs we had before. Saturn is all about our relationship to discipline and responsibility and doing the hard things that need to be done in order to meet our long-term goals. So putting these two together in a supportive way, this tells me that there's energy for us to make sustainable changes. Now, bring Mars into the mix, and this is motivating us to take action. So we're already feeling like we need to make changes, but Mars is coming in and giving us the energy to actually do it right now. In addition, Mars and Saturn are in water signs. Mars in Cancer, Saturn is in Pisces. So this gives all of this energy a flavor of intuition and emotions. So we're making these changes in intuitive ways that bring in our emotional awareness and wellness. Cancer is really about taking care of ourselves and those around us and the people that we want to protect. Pisces is about bringing in our inspiration and our intuition and our spirituality. Now, Uranus has been hanging out in Taurus for a while. It's changing into a new sign later this year. We'll talk about that when it happens. But Taurus is all about our relationship with money, comfort, material goods. And it's an earth sign, so it's very grounded. It's very stable already. So bringing this all together, it's about making some changes, especially in the way we relate to comfort, that can actually set us free, all while tapping into our emotions to understand what those new definitions of comfort could be. For example, are we holding on to certain ideas of material security or financial security that might be a little over the top or maybe unattainable for where we're at right now? Is there any way we can change our mindset to get a bit more comfortable with the circumstances we have now? Or is there something you could do that you may have been preventing yourself from doing before that could actually help you get more financially stable? Maybe there's a job you never applied for because you thought you weren't good enough. Maybe you want to start a business, but you didn't think it would take off. You might get some inspiration with this transit that could clear the way a little bit and help you understand that maybe this is possible. You might have the motivation to actually start that business and the responsibility and the discipline to follow through. Again, it's really about tapping into your emotions and your intuition to help guide the way. I want to say that Uranus and Saturn will connect again in August. However, both of them will be in different signs. Saturn will be in Aries and Uranus will be in Gemini. So it'll still be this connection towards creating sustainable change, but with completely new flavors. Aries will have that taking initiative, starting a brand new cycle. And Gemini is here about making fast-paced change, especially towards the way we learn and communicate. Again, we'll talk about that in August when it's time. Last little tidbit I want to put into this is that also in August, Neptune comes into the mix and forms a sextile with Uranus as well. So all of this change and progress we're making towards freedom and liberation gets this supportive dose of dreaminess and creativity and inspiration and collectivism. And again, this is a larger theme for the year 2025. It really only started to pick up in about late February, maybe March, and we feel the exactitude in April. And because of those retrogrades, we feel it again in August, and we'll be feeling it through October, essentially. So about half the year, but, we clearly haven't been feeling it necessarily at the beginning of the year. Or maybe we have, it just hasn't felt so juicy necessarily, but all the pieces are falling into place so that this energy can really be utilized and we can make some change. I do want to say this could be used on an individual level. Maybe you're making some personal changes It could also be used on a collective level. Maybe we as society are making some bigger changes that move towards liberation. Right now, where we're at, that feels illogical, right? With what's going on, especially in the United States right now. So I couldn't tell you how that's going to be possible. I would like to hope that these things might ignite something for us to change. I'm not sure. It is a sextile in a trine, which means things will be easy. And sometimes when things are easy, we aren't motivated to make change. A square, tension, motivates us to do something. So with this transit and with this energy, we really have to put ourselves out there in order to capture the energy. We have to open ourselves to opportunity. Granted that Mars comes into play and motivates us and has us wanting to take action, so that might really help. As for business owners, this is a longer energy, and so I'm going to offer for you to investigate how you can get yourself some time back. I know as business owners, we're doing a million things. And if you have the finances to, I would highly suggest looking into hiring somebody. If that's something that's been on your mind, here is some energy to help you take some action towards it. Because what this does is give you some freedom back. It allows you some time to flow so that you can create more ideas for your business or focus on what you do best, whatever that is. If you are at a space where you can't afford some help, then join some Discords, join some online communities, some Zoom meetups where you can hear what other business owners are doing. And you might find that there's some things that you could implement that really help give you some time back. Whether it's a software or just some sort of way, something that allows you to cut something out that you felt too afraid to cut out before. Again, this energy is about going for the opportunity. So if you can put yourself in a situation where you're open to suggestions or help, then it's much easier for it to flow to you. Next up is Mercury stationing direct. This happens on April 7th. Okay, I'm telling you, this month just keeps getting better. Mercury has been retrograding since March 14th, I believe. And it started in Aries, but it dipped back in Pisces, which feels extra retrograde-y. So although Mercury will still be in Pisces, which gives us some brain fog and some miscommunications naturally, it's not doubled down with Mercury being retrograde. So that we do get some forward movement in terms of our mind, our communication, our technology, and our short-term travel. Mercury will move into Aries on April 15th, which will lighten the fog a little bit once it's out of Pisces, and it moves out of its shadow phase on April 25th. So that's when things will feel a lot more clear. Each of these will bring their own layer of clarity. As for business owners, if there is any projects or contracts that you've been holding off on, whether because you knew the retrograde was in season or you just felt unclear about it, this is when it will start to feel like go time. Next up is April 12th. We have a full moon in Libra. Full moons in Libra are all about releasing things that have to do with our people-pleasing tendencies, unbalanced relationships, resentments, especially those that are unspoken, and our relationship to beauty and aesthetics. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Libra is all about balance, which is nice. Libra can help see the other side of things, which is very helpful. But sometimes it can also bring compromising too much, and therefore not bringing up things that need to be said or done, basically not bringing up confrontation, because if we do, it's going to ruin the peace. It's going to ruin the harmony. So that's why we often see a lot of people-pleasing tendencies where there's a lot of Libra energy. We're just going to not say that we're exhausted because we want to make sure everybody is feeling good and supported. It's all based on compassion. I love it, but it's just simply not sustainable. So this full moon is asking us to release those connections to things where we might build up resentment because we're not setting our boundaries and saying the things that need to be said in order to, because we're not saying the things that need to be said because we're afraid that it might, stir up some feathers, ruffle some feathers. Now, I will say this full moon is sitting opposite from Chiron, which is going to have us feeling really emotional, big, full emotions around our deepest wounds, meaning wounds that have been there a long time and probably just keep coming back. We all have them. We're going to be just feeling probably insecure about them. They're going to come up and they're going to really just ruffle our feathers. They're probably going to be lit up and highlighted in ways that don't feel great. I'm sorry. But at least this gives us an opportunity to heal a little bit more of them. There's something that you've needed to say to somebody regarding these wounds and never have. Hey, maybe you could at least start to process what that might look like under this energy. Mars is also at play with this full moon. It's forming a loose square to the moon, which is going to bring another layer of tension. Mars rules aggression, the way we assert ourselves, and our relationship with conflict, which honestly makes a lot of sense for a full moon in Libra. So this square could bring things up in a way that forces us to make some change. Okay, but this will be really good practice that if conflict comes up, you can figure out how you can deal with it and say what you need to say. I mean, you need to say what you need to say right away and in a heated moment, but we can practice, okay, I'm going to calm down and then I'm going to approach this person and say my feelings. Last tidbit, just connecting in that minor grand trine that I mentioned at the top of the episode. In order for big change to happen, confrontation is a necessary part. We're not just going to piece our way to the dramatic changes that we need to make. Doesn't mean we need to yell and scream and hurt one another, but sometimes we need to get uncomfortable. As for business owners, this full moon in Libra is a wonderful time to look at your client or customer or vendor relationships. Are there any of these relationships that are just draining you? Maybe you're providing way more than you intended to for a client. You need to adjust that, whether you scale back, ask for a higher price, something that feels aligned to you. Maybe there's a vendor or a contractor you have that just keeps screwing you over. It's time to cut ties. It might be messy. It's not fun to let anybody go, but as a business owner, these are things that we have to do sometimes. And it's draining on you, okay? You can replace them. There's better ways. It's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but it's going to make you feel a lot lighter in the end. Honor your time, honor your energy. Next up, we have Venus stationing direct on April 12th. Yes, we get another planet stationing direct, thank goodness. I will say, now until May 5th, every single planet is moving forward. Treasure these few weeks, it's going to feel really fabulous. And granted, the planet that stations direct on the 5th is Pluto. It's an outer planet, which retrogrades half the year, so it's not really that big of a deal. We don't have any inner planets retrograding until mid-July, okay? That's freaking lovely. Soak it in, enjoy your spring, enjoy the summer, let's go. So Venus will station direct in the sign of Pisces, where it really loves to be. It's all about love and compassion and showing up for one another. Just watch for giving too much of yourself. Self-sacrificing energy is very much in line with Pisces. Over-compromising, as we've talked about, is very aligned with Venus, and putting these two together, we can over-give, which is rooted in love. I appreciate that, but again, it's not sustainable. On its way out of its retrograde, meaning it's moving forward, but it's still in shadow phase. In its shadow phase, it's going to connect with Saturn, which brings a sense of getting serious and responsible with our relationships and finances. It connects in harmony with Uranus, which brings some excitement and unexpectedness into our relationships and finances. That sounds fun. And then it also connects with Neptune, which brings a sense of dreaminess and confusion and illusions into our relationships and finances, which could be really romantic, or you could find out you're in a situationship. meaning it's not what you thought it was. As for business owners, if you've had some uncertainty around some financial decisions or budgeting or anything with your finances, with this energy, we get some forward movement around that. So if you've been unsure about maybe purchasing a big software or making an investment, whatever that may be, and you can wait till this day or later, I would highly suggest doing that. Also, if you felt creatively blocked, Venus stationing direct could help move that forward. On April 15th, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Aries. We've already had this before earlier this year, so we're getting it again. Mercury in Aries has us thinking and communicating very directly, which can be helpful or maybe not. Might be annoying for some people. If we're somebody who tends to hold back from saying what we need to say, this can really help us, especially with all the energy we've just been talking about of being okay with confrontation. This can really help with that. But if we are or work with somebody or around somebody that just loves to just say whatever the hell they're thinking without really processing it, then they're going to be doing that even more. So if you are someone who kind of just blurts things out, then you may just want to take the extra intention to think about what you're saying. This energy can also bring some confidence into our decision-making capabilities, which if we're somebody who is often indecisive, this is wonderful, but just watch for being a little too impulsive. Although I'm very big on failing fast, learning faster, so, I have faith that you can figure it out. So if it doesn't go as planned, then now you know how not to do it. As for business owners, this is fabulous energy for creating content under. Public speaking, yes. It's going to give you the clarity to understand what you're saying and to say it with confidence and courage and boldness and maybe a little bit of sass. Mercury will be in Aries until May 10th. Moving on to make this month even better, on April 17th, we have Mars moving into the sign of Leo. Okay, Mars has been a little jerk this year. It's been retrograding, which makes our motivations, our physical energy, our desires, our desire to take action, all feel slow and backwards and a little disconnected. On top of that, it's been in Cancer, where it doesn't like to be. Mars likes to do, Cancer likes to feel. So it's really been at a disadvantage, forcing us to put in the extra work towards feeling motivated since Mars has been debilitated. So on April 17th, Mars finally moves into Leo. Out of Cancer is the best news. Okay? This is really going to give a whole new energy to the way that we're feeling motivated. Moving into a fire sign. Leo is all about creativity, play, fun. It's also very generous. It's very loyal. So all of these things are going to dose the way that we're feeling motivated, the way that we assert ourselves. We may feel more excited to take on some passion projects or to just have some fun. We did get a taste of this energy from November 3rd to January 6th. Part of that was in the retrograde, I think from December 6th to January 6th. But think back to November and in relation to your motivation and your desires. That may come back around this time. If it's been part of this longer cycle you've been experiencing, this is going to close that cycle and we're almost out of Mars shadow phase. I think Mars moves out of its shadow in May, mid-May. So it's really about taking everything we've been reflecting on in terms of our motivations and the way we assert ourselves and applying those outwardly, which is great for Leo energy. As for business owners, Leo rules creative expression. And for a majority of us, especially really small business owners and solopreneurs, your business is an extension of you. And so does your business align with your identity? And do you want it to? And if it doesn't and you want it to, what are the changes you can make to align those things? It's a great time to infuse your personality into your brand even more. Promote yourself unapologetically. Truly just put yourself out there because I feel like the confidence is going to show up. On April 19th, we get the sun moving into Taurus. Happy birthday to all the Tauruses out there. Taurus energy is all about stability, comfort, money, luxury, beauty, feeling good, our senses, and it's all about steady growth. Spring, which is Aries, is all about new seeds that sprout from the dirt. And Taurus is all about those plants then growing at a steady rate so they can later produce things, right? But right now we're just growing, building new leaves. It's a fixed sign, so it's really, again, about stability, about being here, chugging along, getting the things done. Not necessarily initiating new things, not getting ready for change, but staying here and moving forward, which is great because we have all this forward moving energy. Things may really be coming to us and we have the energy to stick to it and follow through. Just watch out for possessiveness or being too stubborn. As for business owners, like I said, Taurus rules money. March, we had the Venus retrograde and Venus, and at the beginning of the month, we had Venus connecting with Neptune. All of these things just added a lot of confusion and illusion into our finances. So it just really wasn't a good time to making big financial decisions. But Taurus season is much better for that. Those things have passed and now we're moving forward. So if there's anything, like I mentioned before, that you're holding back on, this is just another layer to help you get. April 26th, we have Mars forming in opposition to Pluto. This is not a fun transit. No, no, no. This is a triggering transit. This is a potentially violent transit. It's not fun. Mars is about, in this sense, Mars is about aggression, the way we assert ourselves, and Pluto is about our survival instincts. And these two are at a standoff. They're looking at each other and being like, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. So what it does is it has us feeling like our survival needs are at threat. And therefore we are feeling activated. We are feeling inflamed. We are feeling defensive. Now, Mars and Pluto have been doing this dance ever since November. Because of the Mars retrograde, they had their first touchdown November 3rd. Then they had another touchdown January 2nd. And this is the final connection that they're going to make for a while. It'll be about another 2 years or so before they do this again. Hopefully it won't be during a Mars retrograde, so we only get it once. I'm not sure. I will say there's a lot of all or nothing energy with this. It's going to be hard for us to see the in-between options. So again, that may just have us feeling activated. In addition, Mars rules our physical bodies, so we could be feeling a lot of these things in our bodies. We could be feeling really intense in our bodies, whether that's existing aches or we just wake up feeling sore for no reason, or maybe all of this all or nothing energy is really just building up in our body and we're feeling angsty. If you are somebody who is able to, I highly recommend moving your body on this day, on and around this day. If you can do high intensity training, do it. If you are somebody who is less able-bodied or you have existing conditions, you got joint conditions, then really honor your body on this day. If you need to rest, rest. I know my lupus ass, inflamed ass will probably be taking an extra dose of Tylenol on this day. If you are like that, if you are like me, you got some joint issues, maybe don't go for a really big hike that day or something that could just bring you exacerbated joint pain. This transit does offer another opportunity to look at when confrontation is necessary for making big change. Anger is a messenger, not the controller. It's here to be a tool to say, hey, something needs to change. Okay? As for business owners, my suggestion is to just note that you and or others are probably going to be feeling activated on this day. This isn't necessarily a fabulous energy for making big decisions under, because you may be making them based out of fear or anger. So if you feel yourself acting out or getting all heated, take a break, If somebody said something you don't like, it could be just because they're feeling the energies of this transit. You don't need to meet them. Moving on. On April 27th, we have a new moon in Taurus. This is just a day after the Mars opposite to Pluto, so we will absolutely still be feeling that Mars opposite to Pluto energy. We'll probably be feeling it for 5 to 7 days on either side of April 26th. So that's a while. But this new moon in Taurus can offer new beginnings in terms of comfort, financial security, luxury, and just feeling good, prioritizing your well-being. It does actually make a connection with the Mars opposite to Pluto. So it could have us feeling more triggered, but with the new moon potentially using that anger to motivate you to make a positive change. I will say it's a great time to choose embodiment. Slowing down and prioritizing rest is also an act of rebellion. So with this, I offer for you to set new intentions around prioritizing your pleasure and enjoying the things that comfort you. Anything that might bring you a step closer to financial security and aligning with your values. Those are things that you do have control over. I know financial security, maybe we don't all have control over, but we can look into our relationship with financial security. We can at least do that. As for business owners, I would use this energy to look into how your relationship with money has power over you and how that then impacts your business. Because with the Pluto and Mars at play here, it's looking at our power dynamics as well. And obviously, money has control over all of us, but how much control and how much are we letting that dictate what we do in our business? Is there any room for us to loosen that grip a little bit, just so that we can create more space for creative inspiration and doing things a little bit differently and maybe aligning more with our values? The last transit of April that I'm going to talk about here is Venus moving into the sign of Aries, and this happens on April 30th. Again, with the retrograde, we've already felt this energy. Venus doesn't love being in Aries. Venus loves to feel, be sensual. It's about love. And Aries likes to go, initiate, move fast. So a lot of the Venusian qualities get minimized, or they just have to work a little bit harder in Aries. So that means we have to work a little bit harder in terms of things related to our finances, our value systems, our relationship to beauty, and our relationships. It also adds an energy of being a bit more assertive in those things, which, again, wrapping up all the energy we've been talking about, maybe we need to be a little bit more assertive in our relationships. Maybe we need to be a little bit more assertive with the way we're managing our money. But it could also have us acting impulsively with those things. So watch out for impulsive spending under this energy. Could have you regretting things. Venus will be here until June 5th. As for business owners, I would use this energy to, again, continue to look at your business relationships, whether it's clients, customers, vendors, collaborators, and see if there's a way that you could be more assertive in those things. Again, we talked about setting more boundaries or changing if we're overgiving, and this kind of helps us continue on that journey of making sure we're saying what we need to say so that we aren't draining ourselves and draining our resources, our business, etc., etc. This can help just give the confidence to show up more direct in those relationships. All right, that's it for this month. It's a fun month. I'm excited. I have been looking forward to this month all year, let me tell you. And hey, who knows? Maybe things will go all awry. I've had some great things happen this year under some interesting transits, so you never know. And it really, truly depends on how these things are connecting with your birth chart. So, quick little plug that you can get a personal reading with me, okay? I offer predictive forecasts where you can look at the quarter or month ahead. I have a few other readings if you're into that, so My website is linked in the description, so go check it out if that's something you're interested in. I hope it is a beautiful month for you. Until next time, stay hella fluid, y'all.